And our next guest was a quarterback at Appalachian State University, former Eagles West Coast scout when I first was in Philadelphia. Now the analyst for the NFL Network. You can catch him during all the NFL Draft Combine coverage this week. My guest right now is Daniel Jeremiah. How's it going?
Good. What's up, man? It's great to see you. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah. I guess we'll start it right off. Let's get all the dumb combine questions out of the way. Does the combine matter? What do you take away from the combine?
I think it does. I think you got to kind of know what it is and take it for what it is. I think there's people that say, like, this is the dumbest thing ever. It has no value. I don't believe that.
Not that.
And I think there's other people that put too much into it. But, I always looked at the teams I was on. A lot of times we had clumps of players where you had maybe it's 3 like corners that you kind of have together in that third round. You have the same grade on them, now you get to see them in the line out there working out on the same field. Maybe that little bit separates 1 or 2 of those guys. So that's kind of what I think the value is, just to kind of separate those clumps.
What is the most meaningful part of it? Is it the on-field drills that everybody sees watching it? Is it the meetings in the teams with the players? Is it the medical?
Yeah.
Because that's what the combine used to be. It used to be just medical, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
That's the biggest thing.
Okay.
So, like, for example, for scouts, you come in for the draft meetings in December, and then we come back after the combine, after the pro days, and, like, you'll have guys positioned on the board, and you'll come back, and you're like, dude, where the heck is Johnson? Like, Johnson was, like, all the way up there.
This guy,
where is he? And they're like, medical, got him, so then they'll drop a guy down. There's some other guys you kind of put in the holding tank on there where you're like, okay, we got to see how the medical shakes out. Oh, he passed, so we're good. So that has the most impact. But I'd say it's different with different positions. Like quarterbacks, the meeting's obviously huge. Your position, the meeting's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And then corners, how they run, it's kind of a big deal. Pretty big deal.
Are there any drills for specific, I guess, positions that you are like, this is a really important drill for that position, that you really hone in on when those guys are doing that?
Well, I think probably from being around Jim Washburn during that time, the hoop's always just seeing how guys can bend, can you really corner? I think that for pass rushers is something you can kind of hone in on. You learn a lot. If you're tight, it's going to get exposed in that.
Sure. Yeah. If you don't have the ankle flexion.
Howard had you guys doing that stuff too.
Yeah. I think that there's a carryover between O-line and if you can't bend and you don't have the ankle flexion to get in a good position, you're going to struggle offensive line or defensive line. And the hoop drill is, for any edge rusher that can get low and maintain the speed coming around that thing, good luck.
Like Myles Garrett doing that drill is one of the freakiest things I've ever seen, man.
We practiced against him this year.
Yeah.
And he went up against Jordan Mailata, who is an unbelievable tackle.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because the first day we were out there, Myles wasn't there. I think he had some family thing going on, and Jordan, unbelievable practice. And the next day, Myles only did one-on-ones.
Yeah.
And he did exactly what you're saying. He bent the hoop at the size and speed that he is. And everyone right away was like, whoa, that is way different. And matter of fact, Joel Petonio, I was saying right next to, because I wasn't practicing, I was in a jersey because I just had elbow surgery. Joel Petonio was like, can you believe we're like the same, like he's a human being? He's like a superhero.
Yeah, no, it's not normal.
Yeah, and the funniest thing, we're watching tape after practice, and the scout's like, Jordan, you're turning and you're bending. It's like, yeah, well, look at he's going against a different guy. Like, so that's always one of my favorites. It's like, you're expected to maintain perfect technique. And
come on, he's a super freak. He's an absolute super freak. When he was coming out, I was talking to one of the coaches at A&M just to get background. I mean, the tape was what it was. He was the best player by far, but I'm like, he seems like, in talking to him, so mild mannered. Like, does he have a button that you push? Like, does he ever get to that point? And he goes, he was playing basketball in high school, and they had lost, I don't know, it was a state championship or a big game. And he's like, we come in, and he goes right into the locker room, and all of a sudden we just hear this noise. And he goes, he had grabbed the stalls by each side, went in there with one side, and just pulled the entire stalls down, snapped them off the wall, both sides laying on the ground when they came in there. He's like, yeah, he has a switch.
Yeah.
Well, I pray to God nobody ever has to see that.
Hopefully he's good at manipulating it and it doesn't just come out of nowhere. But yeah, that's unbelievable. There's a few guys you watch, and you're just like, man, that guy is so different.
What about AD? What about Aaron Donald?
So Aaron, luckily, I do not have to block him one-on-one that often. Like he's usually outside rushing a guard, but same thing. The level of quickness, I always think for defensive linemen, the best defensive linemen out there are guys that have speed and power. If you only have speed, there's things you can do to kind of, guard against that.
Yeah.
If you're a finesse player, you can go with a little bit wider hands when you punch. You can do things that you can bait him into certain areas, right? To push him where he needs to go.
Yeah.
If you only have power, I'm going to sit down on that all day and sell out on that.
Yeah.
But if you have both, it's hard. It's really, really hard to maintain balance. And for me, especially being an undersized guy, I lean a little bit now to sell power. I have to. And I think AD has all of it. Right?
Yeah.
He's got the unbelievable twitch. He's one of the few three techniques that can win consistently rushing outside of the guard. Most really, really good three technique passers are either going through the guard or doing a quick move inside to get him early.
Yeah.
Him, Chris Jones, there's only a handful of guys that are winning on outside hand swipes as a three technique and somehow sneaking through the B gap. Yeah. And
Trevor Price used to do that. When I was in Baltimore, Trevor Price was there, and it was freaky.
If you can do that, it opens up so much for you to do to the guard, because then the guard's like, man, I got to move out there now. And then that creates separation. That A gap gets a little bit bigger. So I think AD, and then just being relentless.
Yeah.
Is
that the most, I want to ask you a scouting question, because I feel like that's the most underrated aspect of a pass rusher, inside or outside.
Any defensive player, if you play truly to the echo of the whistle, and you run to the ball, you're going to be around it.
Yeah.
And when you combine that with unbelievable physical traits, it's a pretty good recipe. And AD he's just relentless. He's like a bulldog down there that just is mad and angry. You're like, man, we're just playing football. Why are you mad at me? I'm just trying to do my job.
Does he talk?
Hey, Kel, stop coming over. Stop. What are you helping the guard for? I'm like, you think I'm going to leave you one-on-one? You're the best player in the NFL. I'm going to slide to you every time. What are you? We're going to not just let you ruin the game, Aaron.
Yeah, that's so good. That's amazing. Well, so I want to ask you another scouting question. There, I'm hijacking this for selfish reasons.
No, I love this. Please, it's better when it's a dialogue.
Because to me, we'll have a debate this year as well. You've got a premier edge guy and you've got a premier interior guy. In terms of from an offensive line standpoint, you're getting ready for the game. You know who you're up against. 1 week it's this guy, 1 week it's the guy out there. What's more difficult to navigate around?
So I think a premier edge player forces the offense to structurally help it more. You're going to do formations that put guys in front of them. You're going to chip more with either a tight end, preferably, or a running back. You're going to design plays that are going to mess with them a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's harder to do that at D tackle. You can still do it, but I feel like D tackle, it's just the best thing you can do is slide to them.
Yeah.
There's not really a chip. I mean, some teams will try and chip like a running back through the B gap, but that's rare. So if you have a really monstrous D tackle, especially if you're building 5-man fronts, if you're blitzing a lot, for me to slide to that guy every time, we're giving up.
Yeah.
That's very risky. Yeah. We can be hot over here all day.
Yeah.
And if we don't have either a hot answer away from them and if you move them around, if you play if you're an over front all day, every day, and you can guarantee he's going to be to the tight end, you can do some things structurally.
Yeah.
But especially on third down, you mix them up, you do the overload fronts, you blitz every once in a while, that I have to be honest with where I'm putting the protection. It's harder, in my opinion, and I probably shouldn't be saying this.
No, it's great.
It's harder to structurally do something for a D tackle if you're doing all of that.
So this is why I think, and I know, we both know Howie really well, but I think that personnel departments and coaching staffs that don't communicate well, and I would add players in there. I think there's more of a role. I'm not saying you bring in players and they're going to pick who you're going to see who we're taking in the draft, but information like that, when you're sitting there in the second round and you got equally graded edge rusher, equally graded defensive tackle, that information and knowledge from your players and from your coaches, I feel like there's a lot of organizations that don't communicate that stuff.
But I will say, there's only at a given time maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 D tackles that are that level of disruption.
Yeah.
There's more guys at DN because most of the best athletes on the offensive side are playing DN.
Yeah.
So in a given year, there's more guys probably at that defensive end of the position that are going to have that impact. I give it AD this year, Dexter Lawrence certainly.
Yeah.
Chris Jones.
Quinnen's getting there.
Yeah. Quinnen Williams. I think all of those guys, those are the guys I can think of right off the top of my head that have been run stopping, like pass rushing, like these guys, we have to make sure we know where they're at all times, and we're affecting everything because of that. Other guys that are really, really good, it's like, okay, we're going to do some things, but we're not going to let it consume us. Whereas defensive end, I think every week you're kind of like, I mean, it's gotten to the point where every team has pretty much good edge rushers. In this. Like they're all investing in that. There's great players coming out every year. Like it's to the point now that you can't even have a bad. Like it used to be like you had to have a lockdown left tackle.
I know.
Right tackle could just be like a big run blocking right tackle, and like now it's just not the case. Like you have to have two premier tackles at blocking the edge.
We used to always say in draft meetings, this guy's got to play on the right side.
Yeah.
You can't say that anymore. Look at what's rushing. Look who's rushing over there.
And that's why, like, I'm so happy for like Lane Johnson that he started to get the credit that he's deserved for a long time. It's for years all the credit went to the left side guys, and they were the ones that made the Pro Bowl, and it's still pretty much dominated left side. But Mitchell Schwartz. I mean, there's some right tackles that have been really, really good that didn't get the accolades probably they deserved because they were right side guys, even though they were doing the same thing against unbelievable edge rushers.
Guys.
Yeah. Is there anybody this week that you're really excited to watch? Like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Really.
There is, man. And this week we're gonna have a lot of the quarterbacks are throwing. So Bryce Young's the best one in my opinion out of Alabama. He's undersized, but he's not gonna work out here. He's gonna wait till his pro day. Yeah. But all the other guys are throwing. Yeah. So and people
that's rare.
Yeah, normally everybody waits to the pro day.
Yeah.
So to see him and look, everybody gets kind of carried away with this ball sale or this. I don't care about that. Like they don't know these receivers. There's no timing. You're not looking at that. I just want to see how they move around a little bit, their footwork, and then you can just see how the ball comes out of their hand. Yeah. In scouting, we always say you need to go see quarterbacks throw live because you can watch them on tape, but you don't know. And I'm sure you've seen it even, guys, you look across the field, and if you haven't seen Josh Allen throw a football live, like it's different, man. Yeah. However good, whatever it looks like on tape, it's different when you see that in person.
Right. And
it works the other way sometimes too. So just getting to see the ball come out of their hand a little bit, that's always fun. There's a kid, Anthony Richardson from Florida, he's going to be 6'4", 235. I don't know if he's going to run, but he's like a legit 4'4" guy. Like he's crazy. Yeah. He's got 80-yard runs, 60-yard runs in the SEC as a quarterback. Wow. And then he's just got a huge arm. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, it's funny you say you have to like be there to see some of these guys throw because I watched Michael Vick play my entire childhood. And then the first time I ever did a practice with him and watched him throw a ball and like the whip and like at like the end, like the last like little spin he put on it. Like, dude, this is insane. Like how fast and like it's like being shot out of something. You know what I mean? It's not just like somebody just throwing a ball. It's different. And it's hard to I don't even know how to explain it, I guess.
So I remember being there for those practices. And you remember the long touchdown to Deshaun against Washington, right? So I want to get your side of that story because I'll give you mine. It's slightly different. Yeah. So I'm scouting for the Eagles. I'm on the West Coast. I just got back from like a road trip, so I'm home. Me and my brother-in-law go to the nicest, fanciest restaurant you've ever seen, P.F. Chang's. Yeah, that's a simple plug. So we're in there, and we're in the bar area. We're watching the game, and it's like we've just settled in, and I'm like, we're watching the game. And normally it's I work for the team, but you don't, no cheering in the press box. You kind of take that mentality, right? Okay. He uncorks that one first play of the game. Yeah. And I lost my mind. And everybody in the P.F. Chang's is looking around like, dude, this is like the biggest Eagles fan of all time. They had no idea that I work with these guys. That's still one of the best football throws I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was combining probably the two best players at that. Like, very few quarterbacks could throw a deep ball like Mike could. Yeah. And I don't think to this day, I mean, I didn't play with Randy Moss and some of these other guys, but watching Deshaun Jackson track a ball, it was unbelievable. It was like an out center field. He played baseball. It makes sense when you really think about it. He tracked it like Willie Mays or like one of these all-time great outfielders would track a ball. Yeah. And he would kick it into like another gear. Like he'd be running step for step with the DB. Mike would throw it up, and he would just like gone. Yeah. And that play was like okay, we got something here.
Yeah, I scared a lot of people in that restaurant that night. I can promise you that.
That's awesome. So you talked about the combine kind of separates guys that are close to the
yeah.
How many guys is it actually like changing out of this week? Like, is most of this? I guess I'll ask this question first. Yeah. When does like a draft board start to be assembled? When is it like actually tiered like that? Is that already happened, and then the combine is kind of happening after that started?
Yeah, so the first board will go up in December, and that's like there's books about this, right? You want to anchor it. You want it so that you don't have these wild swings. So once you put them up on the board and you've kind of got them in your ranges, it makes it more difficult than to have the wild swings. Like a lot of people call the spring like the fog of confusion. Like, we're not playing football anymore. So let's not get too carried away from what we thought of these guys coming off the football season, coming off the tape. So you get the board up there. But what happens a lot of times, if you look at your board, so say you've got your positions across this way, then you've got the grades going down this way. So you have that's the image of the board. Well, we might have, say it's center, right? So we have center. Instead of stacking them on top of each other, we might have 2 or 3 of them that we put next to each other and say, okay, we have the same grade. We're not going to say this guy's better than that guy. We're going to say these guys are all together. They're traveling together. Now we're going to go to the All-Star game. We're going to go to the Combine, and we're going to interview them and bring them into the facility if we still haven't figured it out. And Pro Day, everything else. And then you have more guys watch it. Coaches will come into the process a little bit later. And so they'll get to watch them. And then you kind of, okay, now we can start separating those guys.
How does evaluating the level of a player while also factoring the position and value of that position factor in, right? So you might have an unbelievably dominant center. We keep using center for some reason.
I love that. Center. This is center talk. I love it. I'm here for it.
But obviously, quarterback is the most important position on the field. So how do you evaluate, this guy's a game-changing level center, or the best center we've seen in the last 5 years, versus a top 5 every year quarterback?
Yeah, you're going to see it at a couple different positions this year because, running back's the popular one.
Yeah.
Because people, you find running backs anyway. We just saw Pacheco in the Super Bowl as a 7th round pick. But then I'm telling you, there's some guys that are different. There's some guys that are special. If you think you have Adrian Peterson, anybody wants to make fun if you're taking Adrian Peterson in the first round, let him make fun of me. I'll play with Adrian.
There's some guys,
There's some real dudes. Yeah. And Texas, to me, their running back this year, Bijan Robinson, he's my 4th highest graded player in the whole draft.
Yeah, I saw you had him mocked to potentially Philadelphia.
I talked about Philly, and I said, look, Howie's never doing this. Never going to happen. Never ever going to happen. I've been there. I know it.
Yeah.
Off the ball linebackers and running backs are not getting picked in the first round. They don't believe in
Especially
it.
Especially high.
Yeah. And you guys have continued to invest in the trenches, and it's paid off. But I do think there's exceptions every now and then. There's a difference-making player. He's a freak, man. And the thing is, on running backs, to go back to that, don't waste their carries. So if we acknowledge, and we all can acknowledge, their shelf life's not real long position. So if you say you have 4, 5, maybe 6 years of really good play of a running back, don't you want all those carries to matter? If you got a really good team, then it's not like you're saying I'm advocating taking the running back over a pass rusher or quarterback if you don't have one. But if you've got a lot of those pieces in place and you got a really good team, and now you take a premier running back, every one of his carries is going to matter because you're a relevant team right now.
Yeah, and when you do have that guy, he's an enormous difference maker. We've seen that either with Pollard. We've seen certainly when Zeke was in his prime.
Yeah. Look at the Jets this year. That's my argument for people talking about the running back position. Look at the Jets with Breece Hall and look at them without Breece Hall.
Exactly. For some reason, the running back, he went from being the position right under quarterback is this guy could be a game-changing guy, to now it's there's almost nobody picking him in the first round.
Yeah, right? and look, the other side of the coin is you're finding him, day 3 running backs every year,
right?
That are really good. That are good players. It's deep
running back class. Yeah. So do you think that could hurt? Maybe.
I think it's going to hurt him. I think just the positional value and the fact that there's depth at the position. It's one of those deals where they all agree he's a great player, and nobody can agree on when they think he's going to go.
What enables, I guess, maybe like LaShawn McCoy to play 10 plus years at a high level. Watching Adrian Peterson, there's no way I would have thought he would have lasted 10 years.
Yeah.
Because he not only was he fast and
violent,
runner. Yeah. Most of those guys are not lasting that long. Is that just kind of a crapshoot in some ways? You get lucky? Yeah,
I would say Adrian Peterson's in his own world. I think probably when they look back on the game 20 years from now, he's going to be one of those guys where, and these are big names. Are you talking about Bo Jackson, those guys just they're different. Yeah. They're not, nobody's the next Adrian Peterson.
Right.
Okay. That is one of one.
Yeah.
So he was his own thing, but Shady was, he was more quickness based. He didn't take a lot of punishment. Yep. And then he wasn't just a pure speed back because these guys are all going to lose a step as they get older. Mm-hmm. That was never, he was a 4.5, mid 4.5 guy coming out.
His strength was elusiveness. Yeah. His in space,
with the ball out here.
I know. He used to drive coaches crazy.
I know.
But if you look back at the stats, I know. It's the most mind-blowing thing. Breaks everything any football coach has ever taught you about ball security.
Yeah.
But
from 5 points of pressure to 2 points of pressure.
And I think that led to some of that elusiveness, though. Yeah. When you're all on, he was playing basketball.
Yeah.
He was literally out there crossing guys over. on a football field.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, it is interesting when you think about the value of the positions.
Yeah.
So this year, like 10 of my top 50 players are edge rushers. To what you were saying earlier, there's a lot more edge rushers than there are interior defensive linemen.
Yeah.
So this is interesting because you say, well, there's a lot of them. Maybe I can wait, but it's such a premium position that they're going to all go, man. They're going to be a huge run.
I feel like it's easier to see guys that are put in one-on-one positions and are pretty scheme independent on whether they succeed. So I'll give you like a defensive end. If a defensive end is consistently beating an offensive tackle, he's got great measurables. Mm-hmm. It's pretty easy to be like, that guy's probably
that translates. Yeah.
Quarterback, is the offensive line good? Does he have good receivers? Like, is the coach putting him in good positions? Like, I feel like with every level of variable that's added, is it harder to evaluate that player on whether he's good or bad? Does that make sense?
The quarterback's the hardest thing to get right, I think, in scouting. And I have buddies in all different sports evaluating quarterback because two things. It's a dependent position, as you mentioned. You're dependent on all these other things. Yeah. So what happens is you can overgrade a guy because he's got an unbelievable offensive line. He's thrown to 3 NFL wideouts, right?
Exactly.
So now I've graded him too high. Yeah. And then you've got a Josh Allen who's at Wyoming, who's got a couple bankers and farmers in front of him, throwing to guys that aren't ever going to play, beyond college.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's playing against Oregon and Iowa. And so maybe, we don't give him credit for doing what he's doing with who he's playing with. That's why it's so. And then the other thing is, so that's college.
Yeah.
And now it matters where do you go in the NFL?
These guys that are perceived busts, they go someplace else. They could have been
100%,
right?
100%. You're like, dude, if this guy would have landed in Philadelphia or San Francisco or Kansas City, like I think this guy would have been a real player.
I think about that all the time with offensive linemen because I'm like, man, there's no way some of these guys aren't good players. Like you see them and you're like, I feel like if Jeff Stoutland, and I know I'm biased because I've been with Stout for a long time, but like situation, coaching, system, whether you're the right fit for it, players around you, like. All of that goes into being a good player and having a successful career. Now, there are scheme independent guys, and those are harder to find later in the draft.
Yeah.
Like Fletcher Cox, no matter where he went, was going to be pretty darn good. I don't even know how you begin to evaluate a guy who is so dependent on other guys around him.
It's impossible, man. It's flipping a coin. But like on the offensive line side of it, when I was in Baltimore, the worst thing, like, so you're all sitting in the room. We've all got our grades. We've all gone on the record. It's all been printed out in the book. The owner's in there. You can see the grades and stuff. And so a lot of times, a guy gets picked, say a guy you thought stunk and you have a free agent grade. He gets picked in the 3rd round. You're like, I don't care. That guy stinks. Like, he can't play.
Sure.
But if we had an offensive lineman that you had a free agent grade on and he went to the Colts, we'd all be like, oh, crap. Howard Mudd, this guy's going to start for 8 years. You can literally see the scout in the room just go like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Like Kyle Devan. Kyle Devan's going to, he's a free agent.
Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, Jeff Saturday. Like, these guys all play forever.
I was talking to Howie about this. So, he said Howard kind of changed the way he viewed offense. Like, Howard was kind of in some ways ahead of it. Like, he just wanted athletes.
Yeah.
And in Indy, they had really good lines. Obviously, in Philadelphia, we had great lines. And it changed the way, I guess, Howie said that he evaluated offensive linemen.
There was no difference. Howard was the first one I talked to who said, like, we were in meetings or something, and somebody made the comment of, like, he's a right tackle only. And he was like, that's not how the league works anymore, but
he saw that firsthand in Indianapolis with Mathis and
there's 2 of them. There's 2 of them you got to deal with.
Yeah. Daniel, obviously you were a scout with the Eagles when I first got to Philadelphia. You said you have the scouting report.
I do. Okay. And keep in mind, it's a terrible miss. But here's the story. So one of the things Howie would do, and I'm sure he still does it, and we still talk about players to this day, maybe a couple weeks before the draft, and he said, hey, I want you to look at these 4 interior offensive linemen. And under the impression these are later pick day 3 offensive linemen. So it's 4 guys.
Yeah.
So the first 3 guys are terrible, okay? And you're really good. Obviously, you were 280 pounds. I'm sure you've told the story, being sick going there. So, but I'm out in California. I don't know who you are. I just know I'm watching a 280-pound center. But I'm like, he's infinitely better than these other guys. So I'll give you the end of my report here. It says, all right, overall, there are other centers in this draft class that are ahead of him right now, but he has a higher ceiling than all of them. And the right scheme, he'll start for us in 2 to 3 years.
Holy cow.
So, but here's the thing. So
honestly, that's the best I think anybody gave me.
No, but I gave you.
Everyone else was just like, I wasn't even on their board because I was too small. So.
But it's a 5th round grade, and I thought, like, I'm really putting myself out there. Like, we'll take this guy in the 5th round. He's a first ballot future Hall of Famer. Like, he's not a 5th round pick.
Hey, well, you were giving me more credit than anybody else was at the time, so I appreciate it.
No, you stood out like a sore thumb. I was ready for Travis too. I didn't have his report.
Yeah,
but it was my first year in the media, and I had him behind Eifert and Ertz. Then he was number three. Yeah, so I missed that. 0 for 2. Yeah.
They ended up having good careers too. Especially Zach.
Yeah.
What made you go to the media?
Yeah.
Like, why did you stop scouting, I guess?
So, true story. I with Baltimore for 4 years, and then Cleveland gives me a promotion to go be their national scout. So I go to Cleveland. First year we go 10-6. The next year we go 4-12. We all get fired, like part of the business. So I have 18 months left on my contract. I have an offset in my contract. So wherever I go, I'm going to work for free for the next year.
Sure. Yeah.
So I got offered a job with the Cardinals, and I'm like trying to explain to my wife how this works. Like, so I can stay home and we make this amount of money, or I can go be gone on the road for 150 days, and then
it's a tough sell.
And as I'm like talking, like this makes no sense. I'm like, so let's take this year off.
Sure.
I'm gonna start a Twitter page and like see what happens, because it was like I'd been curious in the media and stuff. So I start that. It blows up. It takes off because this is early Twitter. Like there's no scouts on there, and like fantasy football people are asking you questions. So this blows up. I get a broadcasting agent. I start doing stuff with ESPN. And I think, okay, I'm going to go into media. And then the lockout happens, and people don't think about not just with the players, like that impacts networks. Like there's a hiring freeze. You're not hiring anybody if you don't know there's going to be any games.
Right.
So now my Randy Lerner sweet Browns contract's getting ready to run out. Scholarship's about to come due.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, oh crap, on the media thing, I haven't got a full-time job yet. I'm just kind of dabbling with this stuff. So then I went and talked to a couple teams with the Patriots and the Eagles, and ended up taking the job with the Eagles. So I'm in Philly, and halfway through my second year, the broadcasting agent, who I have not talked to in 18 months, I think that ship sailed.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, ESPN and NFL Network want to hire you if you're interested in getting out of scouting and coming into broadcasting. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And then, so I ended up meeting with them kind of on the slide. Never told Howie that. Like, they're in the year. And then I got offered a job by both of them. NFL Network wanted me to start right away. And I'm like, I got to get through the draft. I can't leave before the draft.
Right.
So we do the draft, the Fletcher drafts, I think 12.
Yeah. 12.
And then literally that night after the draft, I went into Howie's office and was like, hey, man, I've got this opportunity. I just want to give you a couple days. I'm going to try and figure things out. And then talked to my wife, and we're like, this is going to be better for us just as a family. My kids are getting older. I don't want to miss their games. And the network was, close to my house. I didn't have to move to Connecticut. So I ended up making that move.
That's crazy. What does nobody know about scouting? Like, was it the traveling? Was that the hardest part?
Oh, man, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. Like that's the thing. And I see like guys that I started with. So my first year was in 03. Mm-hmm. So I've been coming to over 20 of these combines, and you see guys and like, dude, these guys are still on the road.
Still
like,
doing it.
I don't know how they do it, man. Like I just couldn't do it. It's rigorous. But, I often get asked like, what's the number one thing you've learned from scouting? And I have a very serious answer to that. And that is, if you're ever on a road trip and you have to go to the bathroom, if you go to Starbucks, you're a moron. Okay, nobody does that. You don't want a gas station. That's subhuman. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
You need to find
what is the best.
You find a hotel, right? And the lobby hotel bathroom is the most pristine bathroom on the face of the earth.
You go in there.
Go in there. The lady at the front desk, hey Mary, she doesn't remember. Did this guy check in earlier? I don't know. You go back, you use the facility. You might even get a cookie on the way out the door.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I am for sure stealing this advice. As is everybody watching this now. Because I've been in a gas station bathroom, and you're 100% right.
No, you don't want to do that.
And Starbucks, I think their coffee shop bathrooms are probably quite heavily used. We appreciate you coming in and talking to us.
Congratulations to you, man. To look at not only what you and your brother have done as players, which has been incredible, but for you guys to be doing this, it's awesome, man.
Thank you.
So happy for you.
We're having a blast. We're going to keep doing it for as long as people keep listening.
Welcome to the New Heights post-interview, brought to you by Accelerator Active Energy Drink. Jason, what do you think of Daniel Jeremiah's combine analysis?
I mean, we're sitting here talking about the combine. Not the draft. The combine, not the actual draft. The combine. Not the draft. We're talking about the combine. I mean, how silly is that? We're talking about 40s. Vertical jumps. Not the draft. Broad jumps. I mean, what? You watch the draft and you'll see everything he's got. You know what I want to talk about, though? Accelerator active energy drinks. A lot of wonderful flavors, beautiful cans. This one right here is berry lemonade. Fitting as many fruits as they can in these suckers. With a lot of plant-based thermogenics and natural caffeine. It'll get you going for the combine or the draft. The actual draft. Accelerator energy drinks. It gives you energy.
You can find
During a recent podcast episode, the conversation took an unexpected turn when football analyst Daniel Jeremiah joined the show. What started as a discussion about the upcoming NFL season, offensive strategies, and veteran players still performing at an elite level quickly shifted toward one name, Travis Kelce. Jason Kelce was caught off guard when Jeremiah spent several minutes reflecting on Travis's remarkable career, especially with growing public attention surrounding his relationship and future plans. Jeremiah emphasized that Travis's legacy was already firmly established long before he became a mainstream celebrity. Many people know Travis today because of his personal life, Jeremiah said. But for longtime NFL fans, he was already one of the greatest tight ends the game has ever seen. Jason laughed and joked that he thought the discussion would focus on football tactics rather than a tribute to his brother. The studio erupted in laughter, but Jeremiah continued by explaining what makes Travis unique. According to Jeremiah, it isn't just the statistics that separate Travis from other players. While many athletes possess impressive speed, strength, or size, very few combine physical ability with elite football intelligence the way he does. You can design a game plan to stop him, Jeremiah explained, but within seconds he'll adjust his route, change his angle, or find open space in a way defenders can't anticipate. Travis responded with a smile, saying he was simply trying to find opportunities on the field. Jason quickly joked that this humble explanation was exactly what frustrated opponents and analysts alike. The conversation then shifted to Travis's longevity in the NFL. Jeremiah pointed out that sustained excellence over more than a decade is far more impressive than a single great season. In a league where careers can be short, Travis has remained one of the most productive and dependable players year after year. Jason reflected on their journey together, recalling Travis as an energetic and determined younger brother who always believed he could achieve something special. Looking back, he admitted it was difficult to imagine how far they had come. As the discussion continued, Jeremiah noted that major life milestones may attract headlines, but they do not define Travis's football legacy. He argued that future generations will remember him primarily for his impact on the game and for helping redefine the modern tight end position. The studio grew quieter as Jason shared memories of long training sessions, road trips, and setbacks that shaped both brothers. Those experiences, he said, helped build the determination that carried them to the highest level of professional football. Jeremiah agreed, noting that the most successful people often share one trait: they are never fully satisfied with what they have already accomplished and constantly strive to improve.